This video demonstrates how to put the clarinet together. We're going to start with your mouthpiece and barrel, which should already be assembled. If you're not sure, you can go back and look at the first video that I placed on this YouTube channel. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my mouthpiece cover. You may have one. I'm going to put it over my reed, just like that. It's to protect the reed, so that when we set it aside, I don't have to worry about the reed getting damaged because it's covered and protected. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the lower joint. The way you can tell the lower joint is it's the one with only one cork. This one has two corks. This one only has one cork. So we're going to start with this one. We're going to take out our cork grease and we're going to put a little bit of cork grease on there. Okay, I won't spend a whole lot of time doing this to save time, but make sure that you get a good amount of cork grease on there because this cork tends to be one of the more difficult ones. It tends to be a little bit thicker because it's at the bottom of the clarinet. So now what we're going to do is you have a nice flat side with a little thumb rest sticking out. We're just going to put the palm of our left hand on that flat side and kind of wrap our fingers around. Be careful not to bend this rod or push on the rod because that can get bent very easily. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the bell of our clarinet and we're going to very gently twist it on like so. You never want to shove anything together without twisting because it can actually damage the cork. So as long as we twist it, it helps protect the cork and let it last a little bit longer. So here we go. We have the bottom half of our clarinet all ready to go. I'm going to set that down, and then I'm going to take out my upper joint. And the same thing on the upper joint. We need to put a little bit of cork grease on both ends. I'm going to save a little bit of time here, just demonstrate a little bit. You notice with my cork grease though, I like to put a little bit on and then smooth it out with my finger because I feel like that helps even it out a lot. And if you find when you put the clarinet together that there's cork grease coming out of the seams, you probably put a little bit too much on. So you want to be careful about that because too much cork grease is not good. We just want enough to help lubricate the clarinet so we can put it together. So now we have our upper joints and the corks are all greased. We're going to take our upper joint and in our left hand we're going to place the back side in the palm of the hand and then curve the fingers around so that the fingers are pushing down on these holes right here, these little hole buttons, okay? The reason we do that is because over this cork you have a nice little shiny key right here. That's called your bridge key. And the bridge key connects the upper joint to the lower joint. And when you push down on these buttons, you'll notice the bridge key lifts up. And we want that bridge key to lift up when we put it together because if we don't lift it up, it can actually bend the key when you put it together and it can damage the clarinet and then you have a hard time playing it. So we're pushing down these buttons to lift up the key. In my right hand, I'm going to pull out the bottom half of the clarinet that we've already assembled. And then I'm going to very gently, I like to hold it at the bottom here, but if you're having a hard time holding it at the bottom, you can also hold it up here and just kind of, as long as you don't touch the keys to push them up, you can hold it up here and just kind of twist it together like that. But I hold it at the bottom so that there's no confusion. And then I just very gently twist them together. And the goal is to get these two bridge keys right here to line up. So I'll show you from the back so that it's easier. These two bridge keys, see there's the top bridge key that we lifted up and it lines up with this bottom bridge key in the lower joint. And if I take them apart I can show you. There's the bridge key in the lower joint. It's on the opposite side from these keys. And that's what matches up with that top bridge key. So when they're aligned, all of your holes are aligned. Okay, now we have the main body of our clarinet put together. And lastly, we're going to take our mouthpiece and barrel. I'm going to take my cover off and I'm going to place it on top, and once again, just like with everything else, you want to very carefully twist it on, and you want the reed to line up with the back part of your clarinet all the way down to the thumb rest so that the front has the opposite side of the mouthpiece, and then lines up all the way down the holes. And now you have your full clarinet all assembled. And then the only thing you need to remember when disassembling it is that when you separate the upper joint from the lower joint, you need to push down these keys right here and then just gently twist so that they come apart. And that is how you assemble a clarinet.